choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
That's a Dodge D150. This is the only shot we get out of it, and while I initially thought these tow mirrors belonged to a Chevy, that metal trim wasn't wrapping the body lines of the 1500 at the right shoulder height, and the mirrors are too rectangular. Looking for metal trim that passes through the tow mirrors at the top bracket and a geometry design that favors elongated rectangles, the only vehicle we're left with is a Dodge D150. What makes this such an interesting car choice, primarily, is because it continues the trend of cueing in the audience that this is a more modern take through vehicle choice. As Superman movies have been released throughout the last 50 years, and live-action iterations before that, the Kent truck of the franchise has gotten newer to match the time of release. Originally, Martha and Jonathan found Kal-El while driving a 1939 GMC AC Series. Before that, when it was George Reeves' turn in black and white, and before Ma and Pa were John and Martha, it was an older 1920s convertible. Superman Returns was a continuation of Christopher Reeve's turn, and so in 1939 of the GM family showed up again. Lois and Clark had a Back to the Future episode that showed Ma and Pa finding Clark in a 50s Ford F1. Man of Steel used a 1968 Dodge D200 as its discovery vehicle. Superman and Lois held on to a 1970 Ford F100. With this newest iteration of Superman, 12 years after Man of Steel's release, the truck also ages by almost 12 years. The second reason it's cool is because of the way it marks itself against Man of Steel. While the D200 was built for more heft in its age, this truck, though recognizably from the same catalog, is newer and lighter in more ways than one. While Henry Cavill's take focused on a very large silhouette and darker tone, David Cornsweet's turn at the Cape goes for a more agile silhouette with lighter colors and friendlier tone. But in a fun twist, the colors of the vehicles are inverse between light and dark. It also re-emphasizes the working class of this iteration. While Man of Steel grew up in a two-story farmhouse, many and surely future generations also having this luxury, this Man of Steel grew up in a dressed-up double wide. The bigger truck paired with the two-story home, and the lighter truck paired with the double wide. The difference between a D150 and D200 are boiled down to vehicle weight, in other words, negligible at best. Engines could go into either product, though D150s had lighter engine options, but the lighter one was burdened by more governmental EPA regulations. 100s vehicles required specific emissions ratings. To skirt around this, companies across the states adopted the plus 50 or 500 naming conventions, with the trailer discussing Superman's role as an unregulated agent for good. Will this storyline come into play? It might not be on purpose. In fact, I'd be surprised if James Gunn or Beth Mickle, his production designer, who, fun fact, was also his production designer for the Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, had made that connection. But I'm loving the choice to play homage to the history of Kent trucks, acknowledging prior iterations, while communicating through vehicles that, though this is a recognizable story, the Superman will be more modern, nimble, yet still able to take a few punches. If you want, you can get a glimpse into how James Gunn and Beth Mickle craft their movies and choose the cars in their movies by checking out my breakdown of Milton's bus in the Suicide Squad. It's probably my favorite video despite its low view count, but it's my favorite because the movie was fun, and the team of James and Beth gave so much fun material for me to cover. So if you're into this sort of thing, click the link that will pop up if it hasn't already. I'll see you in theaters next to me this July.